Hey you guys, what's up? I'm really excited to be back. I'm sorry I haven't been on here in like a hot minute, but I have a new video. We're gonna do a tutorial with this baby today. This is the Romantic eyeshadow palette from Beautycounter. I have not used this on myself yet, and I'm really excited to do a look with it today. So we're just gonna jump right in and go for it. I'm gonna start with eye makeup today. I've been playing around with some new beauty sponges, and I got my first beauty blender in my FabFitFun box. Actual beauty blender. I've never used one before, and I've always wanted to give in and just buy one, but they're like $20, so I really don't know how I feel about it. I got this one from Walmart. This is an e.l.f. brand. It's like really, really great. I don't know if I like the beauty blender. I don't know. I've always been a Real Techniques sponge girl, so we're just gonna kind of play with the beauty blender today, kind of see how I like it. So we're gonna start with eyes. I already have moisturizer on and eye cream. Always do that first. I'm gonna use my Hint Beauty Concealer in the shade Medium to kind of prep my eyelids, cover up any discoloration, and I also use that as primer. So just using my finger to apply that real quick. And then I'll use my beauty blender to blend it out. I think it's the consistency of the beauty blender. I don't know, it's just different than what I'm used to, I guess. But I don't know, it's supposed to be magical, but I don't know how I feel about it. Okay, so I have concealer down, and we're gonna go right into the shadows. So this palette is absolutely gorgeous. There are matte shades and shimmer shades, and then the center here is a glitter overlay. I don't know if it'll focus or not. So it looks like just really light sparkles, kind of. And those are in the center of every Beautycounter palette. They're very stunning. So there's a lot of lilacs, purpley shades going on here. I'm actually going to start with this beautiful transition shade, and this is Brulee. And that is going to go all over my lid to kind of set my concealer and to be my base color. It's like really pigmented and it looks really good. Just one swipe. So when I lay down my transition shade, I put it all over my lid and I like blend that into my crease. Not being super precise, but just making sure that I'm blending everything well. There are some really pretty shades in this palette. And just blending that all out. So there's not a lot of color, but again, that's just a really good base to put down. Then I don't know what I want to do next. I think I'm going to go ahead in with the darker shade, and this is Moto, and I'm going to go ahead and kind of play with that on the outer corner of my eye. It's kind of a grayish blue color. Actually, no, I'm going to use, sorry, I'm going to kind of wipe that away. I'm going to use that as like a liner and smoke it out. So actually, I'm going to use the shade Smolder. That's kind of like a deep plum purple shade. And I'm going to put that on the outer corner. So when you go in with darker shades, it's easier to place the color first and then blend afterwards. And I'm focusing this on the outer corner because I really wanted to give that open eye effect. It's really pretty. Okay, and then I'm just going to use a fluffy blending brush to start blending. So I kind of brought it over a little bit into my crease, just a little bit in here. It's really pretty, but it's not showing up like super purple. Could just be my lighting too. And just really blending that. And this one is kind of like a glittery, well, I would say it's more matte, but it has like specks of shimmer in it, if that makes sense. Not a lot, but just a little bit. So again, I'm just placing this in my outer V. And then blend that out. And if you are a cool tone shadow person, this palette would be perfect for you. They're all cool tones. And they're all really pretty. Okay, so that's the shade Smolder. That is kind of all over the outer corner, blended up a little bit into the crease, but still pretty low. Okay, then I'm gonna go in with some shimmers. So I want to play around with, I think I'm gonna go in with Truffle next. I'm gonna kind of put that on the outer end of my lid. So I'm gonna place that down with a flat synthetic brush. So these are so pretty. So I'm keeping that closer to the outside of my lid, kind of the center and more outward. Same thing over here. That's like really pretty. And I'm gonna kind of swatch these to see what I want to use next. Ooh, Dusk is kind of like pinky, that one there. And then Candlelight is just a really pretty neutral. Let's just go with the pink. So I'm gonna take the shade Dusk next, and that is gonna go on like the inner part of my lid. So it goes kind of from like a pink to purple effect. Blending everything, blending the edges. Okay, then we're gonna use the shade Moto. Kind of it's like a bluish gray, and I'm gonna make like a liner with it. Find a brush to do that. This is a problem when you have too many brushes that you can't just pick one to work with. All right, so I'm just gonna take a liner like this. This is honestly a paintbrush that I got from Walmart, and those go great with like liquid eyeliners. So I'm gonna apply this along my lash line like I would a liquid eyeliner, but keeping it with a shadow. I don't know how great the lighting is, if you guys can see this. But doing this with a shadow, it helps to thicken any liner that you use. It helps to thicken your lashes, and I like to use a shadow more often than not because it's a little softer. You can also put a liquid eyeliner down and then put the shadow over top to soften it up. And then what I'm doing on the outer corner now is just kind of, I don't want it to be a harsh line, so I'm just kind of like blending that up into that Smolder shade. So like the inner part's kind of a liner, and then it just kind of smokes out with everything else. Then I'm going to blend that together just on the outer part. And then I'm going to go back in with the shade Brulee and just kind of melt everything together at my brow bone. Okay, so here's what everything looks like so far. I like it. I'm not a big cool tone person, so I really like the classic palette, but I feel like this turned out well so far. I'm gonna go in a little bit more. With the shade Moto. Okay. So then I'm just gonna clean up my under eye area and then we're gonna go onto the face. And I'll do my lower lash line once I finish my face. I like to use wipes underneath as well because it'll give you a clean line at the end here to kind of make it look like a cat eye. Okay, so we'll go on to the face next. We're gonna go do foundation. So I am going to use my Real Techniques Face and Body Sponge, and I'm using the Tint Skin Foundation in the shade Sand. I have a little bit of a tan left from my beach vacation, so this shade works pretty well. I don't know how many times I feel like I say this, but a sponge works very well with this foundation. Nice even coverage. And my skin has been like super fantastic like the past couple of months. So I don't feel like I really had to wear a lot of foundation or put on multiple layers. And honestly, that just, it makes me feel good about what I do with my skincare routine. So stick to your routine and results will come. Just be impatient and like, man, like I don't want to wash my face, but do it anyways. Wash your face. And I feel like I get a nice even coverage just from one layer. So that's normally what I've been doing lately. I think I'll do a contour with this eye look because it's kind of like dramatic. Okay, I'm just gonna check and make sure everything's blended. Always blend down that neck so you don't have a harsh line. Okay. Again, that was the Tint Skin Foundation in Sand. And then I'm going to go in with my Hint Beauty Duet Perfecting Concealer in the shade Light. I love this stuff. I got a ton of samples of this and I finally bought the full size. I'm just so in love with it. It's a pot concealer and it's more full coverage, and I use this under my eyes when I'm doing like a more full face of makeup day. So, and this blends really well with my finger. I've tried using my beauty blender to do it and I just get better results with my finger. So concealer goes all in this triangle here. I have a little bit of redness on my cheeks today, so I'm going to make sure that concealer kind of comes down a little bit further to help blend that out. I almost stuck my finger in my eyeshadow palette. Okay, once I have that blended where I want it on my under eye, then I'll go in with the Beauty Blender. I do like it because it has like a really pointy end. I'm just not obsessed with it, but sorry, I keep blocking that with my mirror. So I'm just blending that out, picking up any excess product. Then I'm going to use that. I'm going to highlight my forehead a little bit. I always get some redness like right in between my eyes. I feel like the glare of the, well, not the glare, just the lighting in here maybe a little bit too much. I'm gonna reach and close my blind a little bit. Okay, that helped a little bit, maybe, I don't know. A little bit on my chin. And then since I'm gonna go for a little bit more of a dramatic look today, I'm actually gonna take some of that concealer and kind of carve out my cheekbones a little bit. So give it just a little bit of a line. Then I'm going to use my Real Technique sponge and see if I can work with it and blend it down. So what that does is just kind of help you get a contour going. So you can kind of see a little bit. Okay, and then I'm going to conceal just a few dark spots that I have on my face. Nothing too drastic, but I'm going to take the Hint Beauty Concealer in the shade Medium now and kind of go along my chin. That's where I have the most discoloration. But I tell you what, that overnight resurfacing peel has been helping so much. I usually have a lot of congestion on my chin, and I feel like this is just really helping to clear that up too. Okay, that's done. Then I'm gonna go ahead and set that really quick, and I'm gonna use the Beautycounter mattifying powder. Tap a little bit of that out. And before you set your under eyes, make sure that there's no creasing, because if you don't, you're going to set your crease, so you definitely don't want to do that. So I'm just lightly dusting this in the areas where I concealed. Then I'm going to take like just a bigger fluffy brush and do a light dusting all over my face. Okay, that's all blended out. Then next I'm going to go in with bronzer, and I'm going to use my Beautycounter Radiant Bronzer in the shade Cabana. Ooh, I have fuzz on my eye. So this is the darkest shade of the new Radiant Bronzers that we have, and I'm going to take that on my favorite bronzing brush and just start to warm up my face a little bit. As you all know, bronzer is like my favorite product ever. Hit the outsides of my face. My hair is just, whew, today. So much dry shampoo. And I bring that down my neck just to make sure that everything is really blended. And then I'll do a little bit down my nose. And a brush I'm going to use for that. I'm just going to use a really big eyeshadow brush. Actually, I'll use my contour shade to do that. Okay, never mind. I'm going to go in with contour now. And I'm going to go to my Found Beauty. I don't know if it's called Found Beauty. It's Found. It's a Sculpt and Define Contour palette. This is Walmart's like organic makeup line. And these are really great shades for contouring. So this would be a shade that you would use like under your eye or highlighting, kind of where I put concealer. And then these two shades you would use for contour. So I think I'm going to kind of do a mix of both, but this is definitely the darker one. It has more of that cool tone. And that I'm going to use the same brush I set with and just kind of go along the hollows of my cheeks. I need to use my mirror. I can't do that. The closer that you keep your contour to your hairline, the more natural it looks. So that's just a little tip. So I always start there. And if you use a dome brush kind of like this, it'll help you get in where the hollows of your cheeks are. So the difference between contouring and bronzing is more just kind of like everywhere. Contour is to give you that more chiseled effect, where bronzer just kind of brings life to your face, if that makes sense. So as you can see, like my cheekbones just kind of sucked in a little bit from doing that. Then I'm going to like contour my forehead a little bit. And it all depends on what shape of forehead that you have, where you contour, but I feel like as long as you keep it close to your hairline, it'll look okay. I like never contour. I just usually always do bronzer, so. Now I'm gonna go down my nose. So I'm gonna use just a fluffy eyeshadow brush, and I'm gonna use those same colors. And I'm going to go down, not the like bridge of my nose, but like the sides of it and a little bit on top of the bridge, so it kind of gives that skinny nose effect. That makes sense. Because see how I have that like line of light down the center? That's like if you want to go for a super contour on your nose. Like if you put highlighter there, for instance, that's what people are going for when they put it down the bridge of their nose. So I just did a little bit there. Like contour is a little harsh on that side. So what I'm gonna do to clean that up is just go in with the mattifying powder and take a beauty sponge. I'll actually take my beauty blender, and I'm going to kind of wipe it there and then wipe it away. So it just helps soften it a little bit. Okay, and then next I'm going to go in with blush. So I'm going to use the Bloom in Tulip Duo blush from Beautycounter, and just put that up on my cheeks. This is such a pretty blush. I say it every time, but it's such a pretty blush. Okay, then highlight. And I'm going to use the highlight shade in, where's it at? I don't know what I did with it. It's in Topaz. Well, let's just go back into, we'll just go back into the Romantic palette, and you can definitely use an eyeshadow as a highlighter. So I'm going to take the shade Candlelight. Actually, let's take the shade Cameo. It's a little bit lighter. And we're going to dust that just lightly onto the tops of my cheekbones. It has like a purpley iridescent look to it. I'm digging it. Then highlighter down the center of my nose a little bit with a different brush, kind of smaller one. And then on my upper lip. And then I'm also going to do that on my brow bone. Just right under there for a little highlight. Okay, next we're going to do the brows. So I'm using my brow pencil, my Beautycounter brow pencil. If I can find it. Should have all this stuff out to begin with, but you know, procrastination. Okay, it is the shade Medium, so I'm going to brush up my brows and going to pencil in the underside. Then work on the tail. Sorry, I always like go down so far when I do this. And then I will work on the top section. I'm always more light-handed at the beginning of my brow, and then I get a little bit more heavy-handed or darker towards the outside. One brow, no brow. Actually, it's microbladed, but my foundation like covers it up. And so same thing on this side. I do the bottom first, and I have a scar right here. I always struggle with getting that covered. Light-handed on the inside, and darker as I get to the outside. Okay, brows are done. Now mascara, because I almost forgot to do that, honestly. Okay, I always curl my lashes. Helps get them nice and full. And if you watch any of my videos recently, you know what mascara I'm going to use. Give you that false lash effect. I'm really digging this makeup look. I didn't know really what I was gonna do going into this, but I'm like really liking it right now. Okay, it's my Honest Beauty mascara. Putting the primer down first. And then the primer needs to kind of dry for about 30 seconds, so I'm going to go to my lower lash line with my Beautycounter Volumizing Mascara. Great for the lower lashes. Actually, no, I'm not, because I forgot to do my shadow on there. Alright, we'll go ahead and do mascara on the top lashes, and then I'll go to my bottom lashes with my eyeshadow. Tell you what, I haven't done a tutorial in so long, I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. I really love this mascara. Like, it looks like I have false eyelashes on. It's so good. And I'm running low, I can tell. Mascara junkie. Okay, let's do the lower lash line real quick. So I'm going to take the shade Brulee. Yeah. And I'm going to go on my lower lash line with that. Find the brush I want. So that's just going to kind of sweep all along that lower lash line. So starting out and then working in. Okay, then I'm going to take the shade Smolder with kind of like a pencil brush, and that's what that looks like there. And just doing like the tip of the pencil brush in the shade Smolder, that purpley shade that we did earlier in the outer corner. And same thing, that's gonna go on the outer corner of my eye here. By doing just like the tip of it in the eyeshadow, you can be more controlled, and then it's not going everywhere that you have shadow on the brush. It's just more precise. So I'm staying on the lash line, but I'm kind of like smudging it out. And then when there's like no product on it, I'm gonna go towards the center. Then I'm gonna take the shade Moto, that grayish blue shade again, and I'm gonna put that like right on my lash line using an angled brush. Really pressing right up against there. I'm taking that all the way in. Then I'm going to use a fluffy brush again with the shade Brulee, just really lightly. And smoking all of that out. Okay, and then I'm going to take my eyeliner in the shade Black, and I'm going to put that on my waterline. Again, if I can find it. Just to kind of define the look a little bit more. I hardly ever put eyeliner on my waterline, so. pull everything together there. And then we're gonna finish with lips. And I pulled out my 9 to 5 lipstick because this is so, it's just perfect for fall. I love this lip color. I'm gonna scrape a little bit off here. Okay, I can't do this without a mirror. I love this lip color so much. And this is the Color Intense lipstick. And it is so pigmented and good. I have to like really concentrate when I do my lips with a brush. Like my lips aren't like super defined, like my lip line. So it's a little bit difficult sometimes. Just get that nice and layered on. And what I like about the Color Intense lipsticks is that it will kind of stain your lips a little bit. So it will help the lasting power of it as well. Okay, so that's the final look with the Romantic palette. I think that turned out really pretty. I really love all of the shades in here. I'm not really a cool tone person, but this has kind of got me feeling it. And I love it with this lipstick too. Again, that was 9 to 5 by Beautycounter. A little bit of a highlight, and that is from the palette. Like, that was the shade Cameo. Has a purple iridescent look to it. I really like that. So these are $50, totally worth it. I feel like these are comparable to like the Tarte palettes, the like Tartelette in Bloom and things like that. So definitely give these a try. I will post the link to this, to my website below that you can shop at. And I'll also kind of post the details of my makeup look as well. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.